Hey.
Lost in space and time, on a mission they were never meant to return from, they have returned. The Comic Shop does a podcast live.
Oh.
Tonight's special guest, Martin Kinney.
Hey. Hey, we did it.
He's really over there. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Comic Shop Does a Podcast.
You guys are dark.
We are dark, yes.
Well, that's okay.
We still haven't figured out how to light with if we're using the TV in the background.
They are so bright and beaming, like in the studio here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but on screen, the balance is not
Offset
quite
Left
the-
just subscribed. Thank you, Offset
Oh,
Left, whoever you are.
Wunderbar. Yeah, so today we're going to make the best podcast that's ever been made about Scott Pilgrim. But before we do that, I want to introduce myself as Aaron Z. Lee, the Vegan Police.
Oh, and I'm Evan Coy, Nega Scott. Maybe it should have been Nega Evan. We're here with a very special guest star.
Spoons Chow Down, Martin Kinney.
And regular guest star, Joe Samuels.
What was it?
Notable sex bomb.
Oh, yes.
Joe, what is a bomb?
It's an enemy from Super Mario Brothers.
I know.
You can jump on him, you pick him up, you throw him at things, and then he explodes, and it's a good time.
These are references I understand.
Okay, good.
I get that reference.
Oh.
It's not like Call of Duties that my
Yeah.
students talk about.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Joe, thanks for being here. I'm going to cut you right
Yeah.
off. Joe,
Yeah,
thanks
it's okay.
thanks for being here today.
Sure.
I'm used to being cut off.
Could you be quiet, Aaron? Trying to talk to Joe. Joe, our video game expert, bringing something to this podcast, I think that you'll hopefully fill in some areas of the Scott Pilgrim world that we don't know as well as maybe you do. But yeah, very excited to have you, Joe. The mysterious Joe, the man behind the curtain,
There he
Joe
is.
Samuels, everybody.
can't
Curtain's
believe I got
over
him.
there. He's
Yep,
over here.
yep.
It's-
There he is.
His mom is crying with joy right now.
I don't know.
He's got his comfort curtain just in
I
case
hope
he
she's
needs
not
it.
watching.
Aaron, you can speak again.
Okay, hey.
So now, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about how
What
the
is it, Aaron?
Pilgrims
What are we doing?
landed
What
on
is
the
it?
Mayflower
What? Okay.
in
Yeah.
1602 when the Pilgrims sailed the ocean blue.
1602.
Yeah, 1602 with Neil Gaiman. He helped the Pilgrims get to
okay.
America.
Don't worry.
That
He
checks
just
out.
teaches art.
This is
Your
100%.
students are safe.
This is 100% real. Neil Gaiman was around in 1602, and he was helping Morpheus go across.
We're here today to talk about Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, are we?
Yes. You made a PowerPoint presentation. That's why we're
Oh,
all that's why
yeah.
we're washed out
is-
today.
Oh,
Kind of
that's right.
zoomed in
Look
for
at
some
that
reason.
pixelation, baby.
Yeah.
Maybe
Ripped-
next time
ripped
not pick
from,
white as a background color.
I think next time, yeah, we need to make it darker. If
Okay.
we do a PowerPoint.
Okay, well, I just drag it in. The AI designed it.
Yeah. Okay.
But anywho, yeah, Scott Pilgrim. It is a well. Let's let the PowerPoint do some magic. Here we go.
Is it going to become unpixelated?
Oh, hey. Yeah, so Scott Pilgrim is a book by Brian Lee O'Malley. Let's see. Oh, I did it. Okay.
Any
Oh,
relation?
there we go. There we go. Hey,
Any relation?
I wish. I wish I was related to Stan Lee and Brian Lee O'Malley. But, and Jim Lee. That would be good, too.
They're all sisters.
So the plot of Scott Pilgrim. Why is this blocking? Why does it always have to do something like this? No, go away.
What's it doing?
It was just a little, like, whenever a program updates, they're like, hey, I've got a new feature. It's like,
Oh,
no, I'm using the program.
Yeah.
Get
No,
out.
That's just Windows.
Well, and that's also Adobe. Adobe does that,
Oh,
too.
yeah, no. it is.
And yeah, Windows does it too. Wonderful sound effects,
I
Mark.
know. I'm gonna
Thank
have to
you.
mute it.
Yeah, so Scott Pilgrim is a 20-something slacker who meets a mysterious Amazon package delivery girl and falls in love. He must battle her 7 evil exes to win her heart, and his extended cast of friends help him along the way as he matures and grows beyond being a selfish man-child.
Now, we're using love in quotes.
I don't have time for quotes.
Okay.
These are cliff notes.
Because it's more like Lost.
Yeah, so book 1,
Yeah, Scott's not exactly.
the most virtuous character.
Yes.
Scott starts out as a garbage human.
Well, whatever. We'll continue. I agree with that. I'm not disagreeing. I was going to say, does he end still being kind of a garbage human being? But I think we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah, so I was just going to do a quick overview of each book. In the first one, Scott Pilgrim and his friends are introduced. He sees Ramona in his mind. He is dating a 17-year-old named Knives Chow.
Great.
Kind of underlines the and supports that thing that he's not a good person because he's 23, I believe, when it starts.
In the book, he is 23. In the movie, he is 22.
yeah.
That year makes a difference.
Yes,
Well,
I don't know.
I'm sure a studio person somewhere said it did make a difference.
His band Sex Bomb plays in the Battle of the Bands, and he pursues Ramona even though he is dating Knives. He battles Matthew Patel, who is the first of the Evil X's.
Typo. Knives should be capitalized.
There may be typos in this thing now that I've looked at it. Yes, but that's okay.
I trust in the AI. AI will fix it all.
I noticed it earlier, but I didn't want to say that. But you were a failure then. I wanted to wait until afterwards.
Well, I accept your terms. Thank you.
Joe, welcome to the podcast. Book 2.
Book 2. The past
excited to be
between
here.
Kim Pine and Scott Pilgrim is revealed according to Scott's perspective. Scott and Wallace find out that Lucas Lee is another one of Ramona's evil exes, who was played by Chris Evans in the movie. Scott breaks up with Knives. Scott battles Lucas Lee, and Scott's ex, Envy Adams, returns. These are like very cursory. plot points.
My thing that I was going to my big revelation that everybody already knew is I go, oh, this is they're talking about Jason Lee, the skateboarder turned actor, and this is a parody of that.
Oh.
But apparently everybody knew that.
Oh, you got one.
Thank you. I'm glad that I could share that information.
He
with
doesn't
somebody.
look like Jason Lee at all.
No, but that was my gimmicky take. Was a very prominent skateboarder of the late '90s, or not early '90s, late '80s, early '90s. I think he was a pro when he was like 86 or
He was
87.
a pro when he was at least 88, 89.
Yeah. Thank you.
But came out of that cane, and people were like, "What's going on?" here? But he was good.
He was good. But I thought that was going to be my big revelation. But apparently everybody already knew that. But he's a Jason Lee type. But anyway, I digest.
Yeah. Book 3, Sex Bomb opens for Envy Adams' band, The Clash at Demon Head. Although in the book, I believe it's just Clash at Demon Head, right?
Yeah, it's another video game reference.
Okay.
It's an NES game.
Yeah,
Okay.
so what's the video game?
It's the Clash of Demon Head.
That's the video.
I don't.
Okay.
I haven't played it myself. I think
'Cause
it's
I-
another platformer.
I
but
think
can't
it was
remember.
like O'Malley's like first video game that he ever remembers
so.
playing.
That sounds right.
And I was just thinking
what
the
was that?
Clash.
I wouldn't argue
What was
it.
the other Riverside Ramble or something like that?
River
That was-
City Ransom?
River City Ransom. That was the other heavily influenced.
We were talking about that the other day.
influential,
We were talking about that the other day.
Yeah.
game.
We're all talking about the video game. For
I was
this.
there.
What was I going to say? I don't know. I
Okay,
lost my train of thought. Continue.
I'm taking control.
Thank you.
Get back
Scott
in there.
Pilgrim battles the bass player Todd, who is another of Ramona's evil exes. Book 4, Scott is attacked by Roxy Richter, and more ninja battle intrigue happens.
So filler book.
Fun fact, the woman who voices Roxy Richter and plays Roxy Richter in the movie, I interviewed her boyfriend, I don't know if it still is, in Miniature Tigers, and she did vocals on the album that I interviewed him for. So like I almost know her. But I don't
So yeah,
know.
yeah.
I basically
You
know
have one
her.
degree of separation.
I'm basically Tessa Smith. Book
Mama's
5.
geeky.
Japanese Katayanagi twins are introduced as Ramona's next evil exes.
Good pronunciation.
Thank you.
Both at once?
Yes.
Yes. You really haven't read the book, huh?
No, it's a movie quote.
Oh, okay. Kim Pine is kidnapped by them. Ramona's last evil ex, Gideon, is introduced. Book 6, Scott hits rock bottom. His friends help him to rally. He must face Gideon in a battle to win Ramona back. All right, so that's kind of an overview of stuff. I hope it wasn't too spoilery. I also did a little bio on Brian Lee O'Malley. He's a
Who looks exactly how I pictured him.
Who looks nothing like how I pictured him.
he is a Canadian cartoonist born in the late 1970s. His first graphic novel was in 2003 called Lost at Sea, about a girl who believes that her soul was stolen by a cat. Most well known for the Scott Pilgrim series published by Oni Press from 2004 to 2010, 6 volumes. He published a graphic novel, Seconds, in 2014. Currently working on Snot Girl with Leslie Hung. I think they're on hiatus right now.
Oh yeah, Martin and I didn't realize this that Snot Girl. Like I don't think they've published issues since the pandemic. Maybe it appears that it's still ongoing, but I didn't realize he was writing that book.
Yeah, he does some writing now and again. His next book is called Worst World and has not yet been released. He also releases music under the name QPEC.
You can't release something called Worst World while the world is the way it is right now, because it's just the real world's going to outdo you.
Well, yeah, maybe there's a trick to it. I don't know. Maybe it's inspired by something that's happening. But I listened to a couple of tracks. He's very good.
What kind of? I mean, is it just like indie rock?
It's indie rock with some electronic tones to it. So I liked it quite a bit. He's a pretty good singer too.
Yeah.
I have to say. Yeah, so there's that going on there. The origin of Scott Pilgrim, inspired by the shonen style of comic books, he was highly influenced by Ranma Half, which I've read about in Wizard Magazine in the 90s, but I don't think I've ever.
Do you know that one?
You had
Yeah.
a chance to. It was all across the walls of the comic shop for many, many
But
years.
it
I
was
know of it.
that was in my highly resistant to.
There's a
manga
panda.
phase.
There is a panda.
Okay.
Have you ever read it or no?
I never read it.
Okay.
But it's the same artist that she created, like Inuyasha and a bunch of other stuff like that.
Probably a highly successful person. It's just
She
I
is.
don't know a lot about them. After Lost at Sea, which was a somewhat serious graphic novel, Brian Lee O'Malley wanted to create a book that his friends would enjoy. So he incorporated a lot of like the indie rock stuff, a lot of video game references into the book, and had the fights kind of more video game style, so much more entertaining. He used black and white as it was less expensive to produce, like Japanese manga, and incorporated, like I said, incorporated both indie rock and retro video game references.
Now, where did the name Scott Pilgrim come from?
It was a band that Brian Lee O'Malley was obsessed with called Plum Tree, and they had a song called Scott Pilgrim. In fact, that is why Scott Pilgrim wears a Plum Tree T-shirt. And I think he does. I think it's in the movie. Can't remember if he wears one in the book.
I think it was in the
My
movie.
only contribution we just did.
Well, it went over as well as my Jason Lee contribution. So
We're
I
tapping
feel
out
like
one at a
most of
time,
the
Aaron.
shirts in the film were pulled from the book.
What's
So
that?
I feel like most of the shirts he wears in the film are pulled from the book. In
Even the
some
shark
regard.
So the Plum Tree one is in there.
I believe so.
Yeah, because he changes shirts quite a bit.
It's been a hot
well, he
minute.
changes his shirts like Ramona changes her hair color apparently in the movie, which I didn't realize. At one point in time, he also dons what I think is a Smashing Pumpkins
He does.
T-shirt.
Well, Zero was a skateboard company, I think,
Zero was a skateboard company.
and then Pumpkins. But
No, but there's a-
then he has the green SP shirt.
He has an
Yeah.
SP shirt, which
That is a
to-
pumpkin shirt.
It, because I also just thought reading my notes was like, oh, is that just a knockoff
It's
that really
cute.
SP Scott Pilgrim?
It's cute. It works both ways. I
yeah,
think.
yeah, okay.
There is a scene in a record store in the book where there is I think it's Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness CD.
Yeah.
And it's like there's no words or anything, but it's like the top of the CD
Yeah.
that's drawn in.
Obvious. Yeah.
So Scott Pilgrim was a surprise success. Originally, the pre-orders through Diamond were worse than Lost at Sea. I think it was like less than 1,000 when it first came out. Eventually,
Diamond is also not capitalized, Martin.
yeah. Why would I capitalize it? It's not a pronoun,
Continue.
right? Eventually, the Scott Pilgrim series sold millions of books, so it caught on a lot of steam as it was going along. They even made a video game inspired by the Scott Pilgrim books, which was kind of like a brawler with a whole bunch of different arcade styles kind of built into it.
Yeah, like it was a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
Yeah.
That was, I think, almost canceled. Like shortly before the film was coming out, they were like just rushing to the end, trying to get as much of the game done as possible.
Yes.
To the point that it does have a bunch of issues.
I think I think
You were
it
saying
changed-
it used to bonk a lot when you would guys would play.
So they recently re-released it with the 10th anniversary of the film. They re-released the game on modern consoles, and you would think that maybe they would patch out some of the issues, and they absolutely did not. So
Well, we only had 10 years.
Didn't they also
Only 10
change
years.
publishing houses of the video game like right at the end?
possibly, I'm trying to remember if
Like one place
Ubisoft
developed
was
it?
always supposed to be the publisher, or if they picked it up at the last second. But
I think I watched a YouTube video on the
development
production.
houses might have moved around. I know that it was a troubled
Production.
development production. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The sprites are amazing. The music is very good.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't it Amanamaguchi?
Anamanaguchi. I believe.
Anamanaguchi.
Yeah, who also did music for the
Gucci
show.
Mang?
No,
No.
No, Gucci. Way different.
Okay.
Are they a Japanese band?
No.
No, they just have a Japanese sounding name.
yes.
Okay.
They do a lot of chiptune and rock mixed together.
Okay, that's where I've known them from before.
Mm-hmm.
The chip tunes.
Scott Pilgrim is a good dissection of transmedia storytelling, Aaron, and I'm not reading that off of a screen. Transmedia storytelling or multiple platform storytelling is a technique of telling a single story or story experience across multiple platforms and formats using current digital technologies. It really is a, you look at the book, you look at the movie, you look at the anime, you look at the video game. You're telling a story, but you're using each of those different medias
didn't get all of them.
to kind of fluff out the world a little bit and give you chances to go into some of these characters a little bit deeper, and it plays true, I think, to film, video games, comic books, music. Like it really hits all of these notes and all of these different worlds at a very high level, and makes it it's so well done, so meticulous in so many ways that you can approach it from any number of artistic avenues, and I find it very satisfying. I think.
Yeah, having kind of like crashed through all of the books in this past week, and I've watched the anime, I've watched I've watched the movie, and now I haven't read the book. I have to say I think the book is the best, still, because it's where like the ideas are drawn from. You know, and it's purest, I think. So, but the other things, I never played the game, but I saw a little bit of it. Certainly looks fun and adds to the world. And the anime is as excellent too, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Here.
But you didn't play the game at all? What kind of research did you do?
I read the book. I read a bunch of articles.
I know, yeah. I was teasing.
Watched some videos. Yeah, so eventually the book was very successful. It was kind of like the flagship Oni book. It might still be. I don't know if a bigger book. But Scott Pilgrim was originally pitched to Oni Press because he was already working for them. I think he had done quite a bit of lettering.
He was a
for
letterer,
some other
yeah.
stuff, yeah. And he really liked the book Blue Monday, which has been on my radar because I love that song by New Order. I think if I had to pick one favorite song of all time, I think it would have to be Blue Monday. And he pitched it to them saying that Scott Pilgrim was Blue Monday meets Dragon Ball Z, that's a pretty strong pitch.
Yeah.
And I'm getting into Blue Monday a little bit more. I started reading some of the previews and stuff, and that seems pretty strong too. I like that. And then somebody involved in that went on to go and do Phonogram. You're familiar with that book?
Oh yes, book no one bought.
Well, it's another one of those books I'm coming back to. 20 years later, 10 or however long.
Probably about 10.
Yeah, 10 years too late. Which I would have loved when it came
15
out.
with the pandemic.
But the thing is, I was broke back then and then totally out of the loop, so I didn't even know it existed. Yeah, so that was going on. So there's kind of been this subcurrent of music, like indie rock stuff, kind of going into the comic world, and Scott Pilgrim, for my understanding, kind of is the ultimate expression of that, along with the video game references and such. Yeah, so. Eventually, the movie by Edgar Wright, one of those early Diamond purchases, was purchased by Edgar Wright, so he was aware of it from the very beginning. Was released. He directed it and was released in 2010, starring Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Aubrey Plaza, Chris Evans, and more.
Martin, talk about the cast. We thought the cast was.
Yeah, it was just amazing. It's like
Yeah.
everybody is a name.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe when I was watching the credits I haven't seen Scott Pilgrim in however many years, and I was like, oh, they're in it.
That
And
lady
they're in
from
it?
Picard is in it.
And I feel like a lot of the cast didn't really hit until after this too.
I would agree with that.
What, Laris?
No. Allison Pill.
Oh yeah.
Allison Pill.
Okay, yeah, that's not.
Yeah, I was telling Evan
Yeah.
earlier that
Who plays Kim Pine?
until I rewatched the movie yesterday.
She's way better in the book. I like
The character.
nothing against Allison Pine, but Allison.
Well, she was just glaring at
Allison
the
Pill.
screen.
But they didn't really.
The movie crammed a lot into
Yeah.
what the runtime it had.
Yeah, they didn't give her the opportunity to express like how good of a character Kim Pine is.
Well, it's such a dense. It's so dense and so fast paced. I think that's another thing that's pretty impressive about the movie is the clip that it moves and the amount
Yeah.
of ground that you cover.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like it's cluttered, or even though things move at a hyper pace at times.
Yeah.
It's
the story
very
works. Yeah.
It's
Yes.
it's a very unique movie in terms of I've never seen anything like it.
And there's some sequences that are lifted a lot of sequences lifted directly from the comic and done
Yeah.
exactly how the comic depicts them with typography and everything.
which is super difficult to do. I feel like
Yes.
that's not
Incredibly
an easy
difficult.
feat, especially when you're working on a budget of whatever they're
What
working
was
on,
it?
60
47
million.
million?
47.
60 million.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, made 47.
they made 47
Yeah.
million on a budget of 60 million. That's without marketing.
I
so,
haven't had my way, so I wasn't reading. them.
So, I went and saw it at the theaters with Teresa when it came out, and I really liked it.
Everyone that I know in Oswego went and saw it.
Really?
Yeah, that's why that how bad of a bomb it actually is surprising. But
A Bob-omb.
yes,
Obama.
I joke again.
The music is notable too because the movie had music by Beck and Nigel Godrich, who produced the Beck tracks, I think.
He was a drummer for Beck or something.
A producer.
Was he?
Like, he
Okay.
produced like Air and a whole bunch of other
Oh, okay.
Radiohead. I think he might have started with Radiohead. I'm not sure.
Love Air.
Produced a lot. Broken Social Scene, Metric, famously contributed.
I don't know who Metric is, and that name kept
Oh,
coming
really?
up. Yeah.
Emily Haynes, I believe, out of Canada.
Do you know them?
No, actually, I was at a show recently, and there was a band warming up the crowd, and they were playing the song from the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, "Oh, it's that song from Scott Pilgrim." And then I looked up and I said, "Oh, wait, it was actually by a real band,
Yes.
and then used in the film." And I'm dumb.
Yeah, they're
and
good.
I just didn't know that they existed. Like I was unaware.
Yeah, they're great. They've been around a long time now. I got into them, geez, high school maybe. Yeah, Metric is great, and they actually had the members of the band, or the actors, perform the parts of the musical stuff. Like Sex Bob-omb, I believe everybody learned their instrument and played the songs.
Yeah.
And Metric, or Clash of Demon Head, Brie Larson, I believe that she sang.
She actually
Yeah.
does the vocals for that.
She
track.
did the vocals for that. I don't know about the rest.
Well,
Of
they
it.
don't have a guitarist, which
Yes.
is very strange.
What's that?
So the Clash of Demon Head has a bassist, a drummer, and Bree singing,
Uh huh.
but there's a guitar track on that song too.
Well, so, it's like I saw a video of something like Green Day or something playing, and they're like, there's a guitar sound happening, and like you look at the people who are on stage.
Well, I
and,
mean,
like,
yeah.
maybe they just have like
They
guitar,
had it on-
guitar Steve who's backstage like plugged into the mix,
just
just like with his
going,
headphones on.
yeah.
And they're like, he's a good guitar player, but we cannot have him on stage.
He doesn't have the presence they
No,
need.
No,
He drags everyone else down.
Yeah, he's bringing everybody else down, so he's got to be back. He plays all the parts. We love him, but we can't have him on stage. Maybe that's what was happening.
Yeah, that checks out.
Oh yeah, but there was this notable thing on the Scott Pilgrim website.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
ScottPilgrimthemovie.com. You could make yourself as Scott Pilgrim. So I made one of myself, and I made one of Teresa.
Is
for
that-
back then.
But
Which
this
is
is also 15 years ago, or whatever it was.
Yes.
Is that
Yeah.
site still up?
No. But
Aw.
archive.org has bits and pieces of it.
Not like Space Jam.
Yeah, a Space Jam is
Space Jam
still up?
forever. Yep.
Yep.
Wow, yeah, keep it up all the time. All right.
It looks very 90s.
It was up
Continue.
as of 2022, I believe.
Yep.
I love the style of my character with the white pants and the pink and blue shirt
pink.
and
Go
some
figure.
brass knuckles and sandals. That's a good look. Well
Yeah.
done, me. All right, moving on. Scott Pilgrim takes off.
Pat you on the back here. Real quick.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm here to give myself compliments.
Because no one else will.
That's right. And if you don't believe in yourself, who else will? Nobody.
God,
Scott Pilgrim takes off. I think that came out in what, November?
Yep.
Was that November? I
Must
caught
say
it right when
October.
it came out. I'm sorry?
I'm going to say October.
Let's say April.
No, it was
Nope,
November.
no.
Cause
I know I was in Europe.
Okay. You didn't watch it when you were in Europe, though, did you?
Oh, I absolutely did.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, well, you got to be inside sometimes, so why not?
It was the first day we were there, and I was tired.
There you go. The original cast, the entire original cast returns
That's
for the
wild.
Netflix anime series.
Hold on, Joe's got a.
Actually, the twins were not in here.
Well, did they talk?
They
in the
also didn't
movie?
talk in the film,
Yeah, they
so
don't
it
have,
didn't
like, they don't
matter.
have like a Wikipedia link either.
Oh, well, they approvingly nodded at the
Yes,
production.
there you go.
Scott Pilgrim appears to be defeated by Matthew Patel at the first fighting encounter, which alters the entire course of the film. And as a result, the focus shifts to the many supporting characters, with Ramona Flowers becoming the lead character throughout this. I don't want to spoil too much, but they really address a lot of the criticisms of the books, even though Scott is meant to be depicted as a not morally and ethically upstanding person, and he grows a lot. But they really give a lot of character growth and depth to a lot of the characters.
Literally everyone else this time.
Well, there was
Yeah.
there was literally no character development for any other character in the entire run of this.
Yeah, because the title is
Was there?
It to me it feels like it's just Scott and some cardboard cutouts that are doing their
Yes.
little part for the most part.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Oh, in the movie?
In possibly
Yeah.
the books too. A lot of everyone else feels like props. In the end,
I mean, they have characterizations.
they do, but
um,
they're there just to push Scott forward, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah. I mean, the book is called Scott Pilgrim.
that's true.
But yeah, you get to spend a lot more time with different characters, notably like Gideon and Lucas Lee. You spend a lot of time with them.
What's so funny?
It's just that a lot of what happens in this show.
Yeah, it's good. Like if you're familiar with the characters and you know them, like it is interesting to see what happens. And yeah, I don't want to give away too much, but there's lots of fun little character moments. There's a lot of fights. In it, I don't know. If, let's just say spoiler alert if you haven't seen it yet. It is both like a retelling and kind of a sequel.
It's rebuild of Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, like they go into the future a little bit.
The future.
Yeah, of the relationship between Ramona and Scott Pilgrim, as well as some other stuff. And they kind of it's a redemption arc too for, well, not a redemption arc, but they build on the Matthew Patel character and make him less pathetic than he was in the other mediums.
Yeah.
Because he's actually pretty powerful when you think about it, like all the stuff he's able to do.
Oh yeah.
So to kind of like,
But he was thrown out as like the intro chump fodder.
yes, yeah, but there's quite a bit more to him than what we see.
Joe, give us
at
your
first.
spoiler-free take on the anime. I think you're the. Well, I don't. Mr. Lee watched it, but I didn't get through more than a handful of episodes, and I don't know.
I have Netflix issues, so I didn't.
Yeah.
So give us your spoiler-free if you want. You can throw a little spoiler in there too if you want.
I think I really liked it. I like that I mean, it's a show that comes from, 20 more years of life experience from Brian, right? Like,
Which he's a young guy when he's writing this. I mean, he's
Scott Pilgrim was, he was in his 20s
early
when he
20s,
wrote it originally.
mid-20s.
Like, I mean, Scott's him.
Because he's 41 now, I think. 41,
44?
42?
Something like that.
Is he 44?
44.
I think
it
he's
said he was
born in
he said he was
79?
born in 79 or 80 or something like
Yeah.
that. So
It was the vague 70s on the
70s.
Yeah, I don't like to be specific.
But like, now he's got another 20 years of life experience, and he can write the show from a better place, I think.
and he did write the anime.
Yes,
Yeah.
him and a co-collaborator, and I can't remember the guy's name now.
I don't
Worked
know.
on the show. I think they did a good job. The animation studio that worked on it is very good.
I thought some of the animation looked great to me, and other times I was like, "Oh, like this scene, they're saving money on."
mean, you
like,
save
but
money.
I know that
That's how anime
I know
works.
that's how anime works. Yeah.
Like traditionally, the medium is we animate episodes week to week. Good luck.
So does anyone know what precipitated the anime happening?
I think the initial plan was to do a straight adaptation, and then they started working on it and said, no, we want to do this different. We want to do this different, and then they just kind of it evolved into the thing it is now. The name being quite literal is, I think, amusing in hindsight now.
That he takes off for most
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. Like he's just not present for most of the show, which I think makes it better.
Yeah.
Because again, it lets everyone else breathe. Like Ramona's a real character now. The evil X's all, have personalities aside from just I'm here to beat up Scott.
Yes.
I think there's some interesting twists in there, especially once you get to the back half.
Yeah, and that's what
Yes.
I didn't get to the back half.
There's some really dumb references that I found hilarious later because I while have anime knowledge, didn't know that the song that some characters perform at the end of the show actually came from an 80s anime Bubblegum Crisis.
Oh, I know that one
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
I know that reference.
I'm
I know
loosely aware
Bubblegum
of that.
Crisis. Yeah.
Was that?
I'm loosely aware of that. Do they have mech suits in that? Or just shiny
Yeah,
suits?
they've like it's basically like Power Rangers. They have like powered armor kind of thing.
Okay.
Um,
If it's from the 80s and 90s, I might be able to do it because I like that Japanimation era.
you like that old style.
Yeah, I'm an old man.
Eh,
I don't like the new things.
aren't we? Aren't we all?
I want the old one. Why can't we just have the old one?
No, we still do. It didn't go
Okay,
away.
good.
I mean, you can have both.
Good.
You can have new thing as a treat. You can have the old stuff if you want.
No.
It's all
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
No.
All right. I'm happy now.
Everybody's happy.
I've seen on the internet that's not how it works.
But we just provided an example of how it could work, Martin.
Because I feel like a lot of the
You're not gonna
internet got
gaslight
all
me.
up on this show saying, "Well, now you've ruined it," and that's like,
Ruined it.
I don't,
You got more of that thing you like.
you got more of the thing you like. Ooh,
Hey, do you like chocolate cake? Well, here's more chocolate cake. Not that kind of chocolate.
yeah. I want fudge flavor. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I bought a piece of chocolate cake at GJP yesterday,
Oh, I
2
saw
days
it
ago.
there, and
It was
I
the
said I
size.
almost wanted
It
to.
was the size of a football.
Yeah.
And I'm not a sweets guy, but I was like, I bought a slice of pizza, and the girls were looking at the cake, and I was like, yeah, I'll take a piece of cake. And they were excited for me. They like cheered for me that I was buying the football-sized piece of chocolate
Like, oh
cake.
dang, we sold the cake.
Yeah. So anyway.
Okay, everybody pause.
Yep.
yeah.
That's going to be a reel. We got to cut that and make it a reel.
We don't know how. Joe won't do it for
I
us.
literally sent it to you 20 minutes ago.
No, that was
He
Aaron
refuses
canceling.
to read words.
Ever since Joe turned 40, it's difficult for me to bully him into doing things. So
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, Joe, how do we cut clips
That
out? And
Ford
he's
bolsters
like,
the-
you Google it.
It's
I was
your-
like, no, you got to do it for me.
It's
You
your
can
own
Alta
fault.
Vista it.
It's your own fault for letting him out from behind the curtain.
I know. Well,
You encouraged him.
Joe's a very good man. He's a very nice man.
Yeah, but we have to get that timestamp. Evan talking about the chocolate cake. That's
That's the highlight from Scott
that's
Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim.
Somehow the highlight of the
highlights.
episode. Evan talks about chocolate
I
cake.
think he's right.
Martin, what's in your notes? That was your whole
That was my
notes?
notes.
No,
That was all my notes.
I thought
He
you
had,
had no
he
more
had a
notes.
post-it note.
Yeah,
It was
I had a
note
post-it note.
singular.
Oh.
No, because I looked through Aaron's PowerPoint and like, oh, he's got everything.
Oh, you think so?
No, I'm just saying it's off the hook for not having more notes.
Can't give me any compliment at all. It's fine.
No, I'm contractually obligated not to.
It's the gimmick. It's the gimmick of the thing.
I do think, Joe, talking about the bubblegum crisis there or whatever.
Whatever.
Or whatever.
Joe
Just there's so many Easter eggs
Yeah.
in the movie, and
Oh, yeah.
it has to be the same thing for the anime, right? Like
Oh,
you can tell
absolutely.
that they're getting off on it, but like they're like, how much little stuff can we fit in here that's going to appeal to the music geek, that's going to appeal to the anime geek, that's going to appeal to the comic geek, that's going to appeal to the indie rock, and I love that in the movie. I feel like again, there's just all of the T-shirts and the posters, and what we can't appreciate too is the Canadian references.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That it's super Canadian.
Absolutely
Yeah.
Canadian. And
Yeah.
I think every location, like basically every location that's in any version of the property actually existed somewhere in Toronto.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's my understanding. I'm not
Leaf
sure if it
Palace,
was.
I think, is or was a real place. I can't remember. if it
What's
was still
going on in
open.
chat?
I have no idea. I'm not
Dr.
looking.
D?
Oh, I got dot.
Oh.
Do we have any chat?
Dr. D. Oh, we got cake. Dr. D. I don't know. Dr. D's here. Hello,
You know,
Dr. D.
the interesting thing for me is like
Do you want to look at some of the book on?
yeah, we can do
the
that.
dot cam?
Yeah, let's we can unplug it from here and then we can.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, we
I
can switch
can't.
it over.
Hasn't
But
refreshed
I want to talk a little bit about I obviously wasn't reading it as it was coming out, and Brian Lee O'Malley is a little bit older than me, but I was kind of experiencing a lot of the stuff that's happening. Not exactly the way his life was, but I was in a similar place in my life. I think when this was coming out,
Turn the TV off.
like late teens, early 20s,
I don't
like
know
early
what the mode is.
college, and
Yeah.
Oh, TV off.
and all that
I'm
stuff, and
following now.
like discovering indie rock and like doing a radio show. Like there's a lot of parallels in the Scott Pilgrim book.
Any perpendiculars?
Maybe, yeah, I'm sure, but it was like the experience of Scott Pilgrim and his friends and like the time that they're living through is similar to me in real life, concurrently. Do you know what I mean?
No. No, I think that there is a lot of nostalgia for that early 2000 aesthetic. And yeah, this is when you're a kid, when you're 15, 16 years old, discovering all of this stuff. Yeah, this is one person's experience, fictionalized version of discovering music, discovering themselves, self-confidence girls, but then just this cool, super funky world where anything could happen. And I like that too, that it's grounded in a realism, but also just like, there's just these crazy Super Saiyan fights that just happen. It's just what it is.
And
Somehow it's just part of the normal world.
And I have grown to really appreciate his style. He's a great designer of all this stuff. At the time, even if I did see all the indie rock and like video game references in Scott Pilgrim, this might have been a bridge too far for me at that point because it's so reductive and the eyes are so big. But he is such a great designer. His sense of motion and layout is excellent. I really respect that now. I don't know if when this was coming out, I would have respected it the same way. And his storytelling is wonderful in this thing.
Were you working at the shop when this came out? Was this a thing you remember, Martin, or not really?
You definitely were.
I remember the graphic novels. Yes.
I don't know how big they were at the time because they
Yeah.
kind of built steam. Because I really became aware of it when the movie came out.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's when that got to me.
Well, who was the director of this again?
Edgar Wright.
And what did Edgar Wright do? He did a bunch of
He did nothing else. He only
Absolutely
did
nothing
He only
else.
did Scott Pilgrim.
Didn't do Ant-Man.
Didn't do Ant-Man.
didn't do anything.
He was supposed to do Ant-Man. He didn't do Ant-Man. Hot Fuzz.
Yes.
Hot Fudge.
The Coronado,
yeah.
the
That's the
Coronado
chocolate
trilogy.
one.
Okay, so that's what I was thinking of. That apparently this was given to him Well, he was doing press for that, and then he immediately shifted focus from Ant-Man to Scott Pilgrim because he thought that this.
No,
This is what
he
no,
read,
no,
he read
Ant-
it way before.
Yeah.
Yeah?
He was a fan from the beginning.
Okay, my
Oh,
bad.
yeah, Baby Driver, as
Yep.
chat pointed out. I was trying to grapple
I
with
was
that one,
I'm like the car.
which is also very,
But
very good.
one another thing I'd like to point out, Scott Pilgrim on his parka, it has an X-Men patch.
Yep.
It's true.
Because he went to the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. And throughout the book, there's like if you've read X-Men, like he's explaining how Ilyana Rasputin was taken to like the Hell
To
dimension.
Limbo and all that.
Oh yeah.
And they also explain like the Siege Perilous in the Chris Claremont, Mark Silvestri era, where Psylocke makes them go through the Siege Perilous and all this stuff. Like
Yeah.
they're not mentioned by name, but if you've read the X-Men,
You know what they're
books-
talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I did not read X-Men, so I missed those.
yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't get the video game references. So.
Well, when we
Okay,
get
so we balanced out.
yeah.
So
Okay,
when we
understood.
bounce back to Siege Perilous, time for Mike Callie reads the X-Men. We'll bring you on for that
Oh,
one.
okay. Do I have to
That-
read the
that-
X-Men now? Do I just show
Maybe,
up?
maybe you can just show up. We can
Okay.
just wait and see you.
Yeah, you can. You
It'll
can
be in
just
like 10
show up.
years by the time
there's-
we flip
Oh,
back.
that's fair.
There's different eras that you want to get into, like, well, you know, not that you want to get into them, but like Executioner Song, we did an episode on. That was better than I.
I can't believe
thought it
how
would
much
be.
better that was.
It was
yeah,
good. It was
because
really
I
good.
imagine it would probably be terrible, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, everything I read is from that time period. I'm like, oh, why did I like that?
The Siege Perilous era. It's when it's on Mark Silvestri is doing the artwork for it. That is primo stuff. I love that stuff. I picked that up here, the Epic Collection.
I am Dr. D, who I believe is Damien, said I saw Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost at a Hot Fuzz premiere Q&A.
That's pretty sweet.
That is pretty sweet. I love those movies. We should do that as a podcast.
Uh,
There's a
This
lot
one
of
do Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
Okay.
I still haven't seen Hot Fuzz. Maybe I'll watch that.
Oh, and the
someday.
best part is they talked about granny porn. I love that.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is coming up in 3 issues of Savage Dragon.
Oh, boy.
No, it's just regular smut.
Yeah, but one of the differences between the original edition and this is that it's now in color with Nathan Baron coloring. I was resistant to the color because I like black and white comics and I like to see people make it work in black and white. But his color does add quite a bit to it, add some clarity, add some more dimension. And,
Yeah, it doesn't take away from the line art at all.
No, it doesn't.
It was still jarring opening the book.
Yeah, just
My
see,
God,
see the
color.
color. Yeah, and he. I'm listening to some interviews with Brian Lee O'Malley. He actually had a couple assistants on the last book, like background art, and then I'm not sure what else. Maybe some figure art. I'm not sure what all that
Bougie.
entailed. Well, I mean, it makes sense because he's got the manga influence, right? So like mangas are studios a lot of the time. There's still individual people who do that. But I thought that was an interesting piece. Oh, actually, there was a contest with the Scott Pilgrim website to submit your work to potentially work on some Scott Pilgrim. So I think he was looking for those people that he got as assistants in that contest.
Yeah.
And I did submit something to it. Totally.
Did you
not-
win?
No, of course not.
Typical.
But I also didn't submit it in his style and like created like my own original characters.
He just sent him Wesley the robot.
Not exactly, but there's a character I'm going to be harvesting from that in future editions. of
Sounds
Wesley the Robot.
sinister.
What's that?
It sounds sinister.
What do you mean?
Harvesting.
Well, yeah, it's also based on like this music snob guy that I knew at Oswego, who's
Your reflection.
yeah, like a dark version of me, I think. And that's a spoiler for my own book.
Nega Aaron.
There you go.
Well, not Nega Aaron. Just a totally like a version of me that could be bad, but not me. Like a totally different person, but with some parallels.
He had
Yeah,
a goatee.
but the action and stuff in here is so sourced from different stuff. Like having Patel be totally upside down. Like, and there's a lot of poses and stuff I think that are stolen, right? Like, is this the uppercut? Is that like a Street Fighter uppercut?
I feel like it's just a pretty classic.
Classic uppercut.
All the speed lines, though, obviously very reminiscent of manga.
Very dynamic. I know that he's got to have pulled some stuff from fighting games, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Playing games, beat 'em ups. I mean, the comic itself already kind of felt like River City Ransom before they made a game that was a ripoff of River City Ransom.
We were talking about City Ransom the other day. I don't remember how much manga influence there was to that. That's a super anime-looking game.
Well, I mean, it was made in Japan and then brought here.
Yeah, I
so-
guess, but it's, your memories.
But they changed the outfits.
But
And
when
they
when
changed the outfits and they changed
I
everyone's
remember
names,
that. See,
and
I was
they
paying attention.
they made it an American city.
but again, it was you're 8 years old playing the game. I haven't played it in 30 something years. Like, there's some fun process stuff in there in the back there.
Yeah, there's got to be like some Jamie Hewlett influence from like Tank Girl in here too.
I would believe that.
Where's Alex Dexter when you need him?
I know.
You would have that info.
He's probably working somewhere. He's always
Possible.
working. Yeah, I like the process stuff. Kind of getting some of the sketches. This guy, you can tell he's just drawing all the time. It was interesting in an interview. He said he's more of a words guy. He writes this out in full script
Yeah.
before he draws. So he was already kind of training to be a writer. So I guess it makes sense for him to team up with Leslie Hung for Snot Girl. Oh, and here's all your reference of the real locations in the back there.
In the back of one.
Yeah.
The original pitch. Ooh, that's kind of cool.
Original pitch. Give me money. I'll draw and write.
I'd like to read that at some point. Yeah, look,
Well,
at,
that's-
look at the negative space
yeah.
on that. That's beautiful.
I think that's what it was. It was giving the money. That I think he also implied that when they were talking movies and things like that, he wasn't sure exactly how this would translate, but he was a broke artist, and it's just like, yeah, let's go. Like, I'll take a check, which there's nothing wrong with.
Yeah, and because of the success of this, he's able to do some other stuff. Although, in the interview I listened to, he said that now he has to be the brand manager for Scott Pilgrim for the rest of his life, and that takes up more time than he would like.
No, what a shame. You had you had one thing that was really successful that will live on for
Forever.
and now you got to be in charge of it. That's a tough deal.
I know in 10 years he has to come up with a stage show.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim the
Oh,
musical.
is that the final one?
That's the last. That's the step you go to, isn't it?
That's a musical. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a musical there, right? You could do a
You
cool.
could totally do a musical.
and then you
can
Mean Girls
absolutely
it, and it
do
goes
musical.
back from the stage show to a new movie. It's just
You
how
could do
it.
a really cool musical.
What's Mean Girls?
Mean Girls,
what?
Huh?
the movie, Lindsay Lohan.
Oh,
Tina
yeah, I
Fey.
know it exists. Is it
Yeah, they did a movie. They did a stage show. Another stage show. They've mashed together with a new movie.
Yeah, they're making a new movie based on the stage show, which is based on the movie.
Okay, and then how much does Heather's get in royalties?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Tina Fey's doing okay though.
Well, Tina Fey deserves it.
All right, Martin. What else is in your notes?
The back of the paper.
Lunch special.
25.
25.
That's what I got today.
Yep. Okay.
Wonton soup.
Yep.
Joe, what have you got? Any more Scott Pilgrim gems you want to drop on us?
No, I don't know. Like, I came into it kind of late as well. I think the old
Did you pick it up here?
yes
Okay.
yes I did. I think I found out about it very shortly before the film came out through ye old internet forum.
Something awful?
It absolutely was.
Yeah. Joe and I have a weird language that we speak that we didn't know each other when we were younger, but we were on the same internet message board, and we have a lot of the same obscure references from
Absolutely.
early 2000s internet.
Yep.
So
So I think I picked it up because of that. Read through it, said this is pretty okay. I think I had finished. Well, no, I think I had.
This ain't crap.
It's not bad.
This ain't crap.
Like I think I also probably identified with it at the time. It felt like, yeah, this is a lot of similar. It's fairly similar to my life experience at this point. Again, I was
all the exes that you fought to
20-something.
to
None of
get
that.
your
Well,
wife's.
but I mean, there's that like anybody who's been in relationships that have ended can relate to that the awkwardness and the conflict and such like that. You know, heightened. You know, so that's part of the appeal of it.
Yeah, I think in the end it was just more of the, I'm not ready for real life yet either. So, because I think that's where Scott is certainly at the beginning of the book and possibly also at the end of the book.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a better person at the end of
Yes.
it all, but I don't think he's a great.
He improved.
He's
I'm
improved.
not gonna say he's good yet. He's getting there, maybe. The
And-
show
and-
also dives into that a bit.
Yeah, and he's lucky to have so many people that care so much about him.
That's the and I think that's the thing that I really enjoy about the show is that you actually see the support cast actually support him better and help him push forward.
And have the room to do that.
And actually have the space to do it. Yeah, the movie absolutely did not have the space to do it.
Yeah, because it is very snappy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The edit,
It
the,
rolls right
The
through.
editing's just beautiful.
the cuts. In that,
I'm not
No,
saying
yeah.
it's bad.
I
Yeah.
just feel like overall it's still
Yeah.
somewhat breakneck pace, like
Yes.
how fast it's going.
Mhm.
Because again, it has a lot to cover. So
yeah.
I mean, and for casual people who are just tuning in, like they want to be entertained with that
right.
snappy pace. So,
Yeah.
so
Give 'em-
it kind of by virtue of what it is, it had to be that.
Give them the right colors and the explosions, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone's
Which
good.
is very visually appealing movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe how fast it covered ground. The cinematography great, the transitions, the cuts between the dream sequence and the death sequence and the fight sequence and the like boom 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 boom, but again it didn't feel overwhelming.
And while two-dimensionally a lot of characters were represented, they were still very distinct, which
Yes.
is great. So you weren't confused as to who's this and that. And what
One
Yeah.
thing I think they could have done a bit more with is like explain like the subspace bag, because like you know what I'm talking about? Because
It's
like
a bag
she,
of holding.
huh?
It's just a bag,
Bag
of
of
holding.
holding.
Yeah.
Well, like I just remember.
Do you know what a
being-
bag of the D&D reference, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I don't know that reference.
Oh yeah, so bag of holding is just it's just you can put whatever you want.
One
in
out
there.
of the
But
bag, yeah.
because
Oh,
it's attached to a subdimension.
Yeah,
So the bag itself is also a doorway to the subdimension.
but
where
I don't
she
know
can
if they
sneak around
ever
it.
explain that in the movie.
No,
Do they need to though? I feel like
I mean the movie didn't do the sight gag with Scott stuffed in the bag, which was wonderful.
I think it was cut. I think they were going to do it, but it would have been too
I
expensive.
don't know. Yeah, the animation budget for that would have been horrendous. I'm sure
Would have been cool though.
it would have been cool. I don't know how good it would look now.
Well,
We could have tried.
it'll look better than the Spawn movie.
and granny porn.
well,
boy.
speak for yourself.
First
Well,
Harry Potter
that's
film.
the note we should definitely end on.
Granny porn?
Yes.
No, okay. Maybe I'll tune
There
into
we
that
go, we
one.
did it.
Did we do it?
All my hard work to end with.
Yeah, well, we can end on that
yeah,
note.
Okay, yeah.
Well, oops, we did it again.
It's all Damien's fault.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Joe, thanks for being here.
Happy to be here. Super, I'm super useful today.
Remember, we
No,
gotta
you are. You are.
Okay.
we got you contributed some good stuff. We got to make sure to cut the cake.
Jack
segment.
Kirby.
That's the highlight point. Apologies to Stan Lee.
No.
No, we're not going to apologize to him.
All right, take us home.
Apologies to Jack Kirby. I've been Aaron Z. Lee, the Vegan Police.
Oh, I'm Evan Coy. I'm going to change my name to Nega Evan, actually. We're here with very special guest star
I hate typing.
and a regular guest star, Joe Samuels, notable sex bomb.
Yes.
Hey, Joe Samuels, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in. Tune in next week where, I don't know.
Where we're doing
Maybe-
Kingdom Come. Or is it Kingdom Come next week? That's what you saved me, right?
King of
Why don't you go to the next screen?
Oh, all right. Apologies.
You know, fun story.
Hmm.
I took that out of the library at Soon this week on Reddit.
What's that?
Probably a long time ago.
Did you return it?
No, I did. Good job.
Have a good night, everybody.